Good morning, Audrey. How
Oh,
are
you mean
you?
evening?
Good evening. What time is it there?
It is exactly 7 p.m.
Oh, wow. All right. And it's exactly 9 a.m. here in San Diego. And tell us where you are. You're obviously under your insecticide treated bed net, protecting you
Yes, I
from
am.
malaria.
hmm and coincidentally, it's where the light is great.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah, you've got the perfect Zoom room there.
yeah.
And where are you?
I'm in Luero. That is on the way up north, than part of the central region of Uganda, but on the way to the northern part. So Luero
Yeah,
district. Yeah.
yeah, so super
And
excited.
yeah.
Yay, why haven't we done this before?
I
I guess
know.
COVID makes you do all kinds of crazy new things. So I wanted to just, first of all, Audrey has been just like my child's country director for how many years now? Or how long have you been with just like
Whoa,
my
since
child?
2015. It's
Oh,
now what, 5 years? So
wow. Wow, that's amazing. And in that amount of time, so the primary focus of what Audrey does on the ground in Uganda is around our Girl Power Project, which is really focused on keeping girls in school, avoiding forced child marriage, early pregnancy, rape, disease. And she has been able to, with her team, reach how many communities?
over 100 communities and with reaching over 20,000 girls, directly and indirectly, but also similarly, the same number of boys and an almost equal number with their parents, the adults in the community. So
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
many.
And can you just describe in very briefly what Girl Power Project is and how you implement it?
So GAUPA project, I would say, is we call it a system of delivering our content, which is all information or resources that will support a girl within a community that she lives in to avoid all the things you already mentioned,
Mhm,
pregnancy, disease, and violence. So
mhm,
it's a curriculum, I would say, a system of delivery, but it's very engaging with all the adolescent girls participating, their counterparts, the boys, and the community members. So it's who to approach first, and how do you engage them and at which levels. So
mhm.
it's a system of delivery for these key messages for the young adolescents.
And yeah, I just wanted to share really quickly some of the statistics that are going on in the Luwero district where Audrey is right now. So which is central Uganda. So there are 1 million adolescent girls living in central Uganda, and they are experiencing a wide range of vulnerabilities. 50% of the girls drop out of school by the age of 15. So for some of these, this is like what we would call sixth or seventh grade, because they're delayed as they're delayed in school. So you could find a 14-year-old girl in sixth grade. An estimated 40 to 50% of all Ugandan women marry before age 18, and estimated 15% by age 15. So we're going to talk a little bit about this early marriage today as well. And girls in rural Uganda in rural areas are married earlier and on average have 3 or more children than the girls who live in the cities. And most unfortunately, half of Ugandan women 15 and older have experienced physical violence, and 22% have experienced sexual violence. And 1 in 10 Ugandan women aged 15 to 49 um, have experienced violence during pregnancy. And so violence against women is a huge issue that you see and against girls. And so my question for you, Audrey, and I know this is something that is of extreme urgency for you because you've got how many girls yourself? How many daughters?
Oh, 2 girls.
Yeah.
And I also live with 3 of my nieces, so it's all girls.
Yeah. And what are your daughters' names?
OJ, that's my first daughter, and Heidi Joy, the second.
Heidi
Yeah.
Joy. And what does OJ stand for?
Ariana Jasmine, but it's 2 names which we just decided to use the acronyms for that. She's Oriana Jasmine.
So cute. And how old are they?
Oriana is 11, and Heidi will be 7 in September,
Oh my
very
gosh.
soon.
How did that happen?
I mean, they're
That's,
so grown now, little teenagers
oh my
in the
gosh.
making.
Living with adolescents, that's something we can all
Yeah.
relate to. Um,
Mhm.
are you, yeah, so tell us about what has happened in Uganda for you and the work as this whole COVID shutdown has started.
Oh, yeah. So with Uganda, I would say the shutdown or lockdown, in this case, that's what we call it over here. It started in March, towards the end of March. Everything started to slow down. We were shut down. Schools were the first to be closed because we knew it would be, they knew it was a point of spreading of COVID, and which presented so many challenges. So with the shutdown of schools, limited information now was going to the communities. And with just like my child, the Girl Power Project, our duty was always to go to the field and work with these young adolescents, meeting them in the communities they're in, but with them not being at school, which was our entry point, then also the transportation was shut down. We could not reach any of these girls or the adults directly. So this has posed a very serious issue altogether for the civil society organizations in Uganda, of course, of which we are part. It's been very difficult. We do not reach these girls and we feel they are now at risk because reports are coming in where all the statistics you read, there is slightly an increase. They're
Mm,
thinking by the end of the year, all of this will have increased simply because already the challenges these girls are facing in the villages, which is a lack of information to be able to protect themselves from early marriage and being cut off from reaching the places they would go for help is also very difficult. And now also we having parents or community members taking advantage of the situation. So if with the poverty, they've started marrying off girls. I mean, it's always there, but now it's increasing with the
mm.
excuse that, okay, there is no school. So it's like everyone has automatically dropped out of school, which is really very challenging. And the biggest worry now is going to be the post-COVID era, because they say if they opened schools right now, many girls are getting pregnant. So you have to start dealing with other issues like should they allow pregnant girls in school, or how will you get the one who has already been married off during this shutdown? It's very difficult right now. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that is definitely. I think that's what we're so concerned about because our whole goal has been to keep girls in school, and because it keeps them safer than rather than being in the vulnerable communities where they don't have as much oversight. And so I think that's been of extreme um, need for us. So I just want to say hello to Lori Oberly Edwards. I see you're on. Amy Iram, Jennifer Meme, so glad to see you here. Thank you so much. Please share that we're on with Audrey right now. We're so excited to be able to do this. Like I said, why haven't we done this before? It's unbelievable. So
Yeah.
I think in your as a mom, as someone who's out there every day with girls, tell me about like your concern and what started to come up for you when you weren't able to get out and see them and continue girl power programming. And then, kind of how you came up with this idea of what I really want to talk about, which is this Girl Power Hour radio show that you've initiated. So, just kind of tell me about your thought process there.
Yeah, so I would say we were almost completely shut down for 2 months with very limited cellular network, like communication via mobile phones to reach like the community legal volunteers or GALPA advocates. These are the adult component to support the girls in the villages. That was very, very limited. And now that you're not going to be in class or meet face to face with these young girls, to tell you their challenges as you advocate for them to be supported, we had to think like really fast. And you've been asking like how come we haven't even done this sooner, like going Facebook Live. So it was the same situation. We are shut down and we just had to put our heads together. How do we get to these girls? Because with all the statistics coming in that there is danger ahead, we had to get creative.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, so how about we start going wider? This has been a dream of ours, by the way, Vivian, like to really reach a wider audience with the
Sure.
same resources. So first with this challenge, we knew we just couldn't keep down. Like they say we are locked down, but we are not down. So
Hmm.
we partnered with a community radio, and this radio station just reaches the 3 districts, exactly our catchment area as of now. And we said we needed to take the Girl Power project on radio because it's information and referral for support for adolescent girls. So we started in July at the very beginning. We scripted everything of the we had to redesign the curriculum just fit for 1 hour on radio, and we kept it just the way it was. So usually with the Girl Power project, we interact with girls, but also their parents and community leaders. And that is how we are keeping it on radio too. The
Hmm.
girls who have been through the project, the Girl Power mentors, are the ones still on radio coming in to share what they've learned. And also we have our facilitators still doing the same work that they've been doing. It's now just with a reduced time of 1 hour, but it's still getting good traction. Like it's very effective. And we are looking at effectiveness because the people calling us during the show and even after the show shows that they are listening in and they are learning something, which to us is very good.
So you're bringing girls in who have served as mentors. This is one of the great things about Girl Power Project is you're not just going out and delivering the content, you're teaching other girls how to teach the programming themselves. So that's
Mhm.
even more powerful to learn
Yeah.
from a peer or somebody who's slightly older. And then you're having the facilitators come in.
Mhm.
And I know that we have lots of contexts and connections in the communities as well. And I just want to underscore what you said about the community legal volunteers. And
Yeah.
this was something that, you know, it when we talk about Girl Power Project here, it's a little bit hard to explain to people the whole breadth of the program. But in fact, one of the things that we saw, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is that sometimes the community members would know that bad things were happening to girls. They wouldn't really understand how illegal it was because it was kind of what people were doing all the time. And they wouldn't believe that they could have access to justice. And so the girls, so what we started to do was to train community members through an organization of women's rights attorneys, Ugandan women's rights attorneys, in something we call Project Justice, and to certify community members to become community legal volunteers. And they're now like your safety net in the communities,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, they are.
How many are there? How many CLVs are there?
I would say there are thousands really because we've been doing this since what 2011. For every
Mhm.
community that we reach, we enroll over 200 of them. So there's quite many right now,
Mm-hmm.
more than a
Wow,
thousand.
that's amazing. Oh, and I just see that Josephine Peruth is on. Is that Namata or
Na,
no?
Nalubombwe.
Oh, Nola Bumway. So this is say hi to Josephine if you're watching in the chat. In the comment, we met her. I met her way before you met her, Audrey. I met
Yes.
her in 2009, and she is one of our very first sponsored girls, Mandela uh, project, which is a sponsorship program where we actually were able to put a girl through, or put many girls now through the entirety of their middle school and high school, and then college. And now Josephine is a um, are you graduated? Just is she graduated
Oh
yet?
no. So
No.
because of COVID,
Oh my gosh,
the
yeah.
university closed. She's just left with one semester to complete.
Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. But she's just our shining star, and really came from such an incredibly vulnerable background, and was such a smart, sassy student, and just has made us so, so proud. So happy to see you. And I'm always thrilled that we can greet her when we're in Uganda as well. She's a grown woman. Woo! And I met her, I think, when she was 10. So also, hi, Josephine. Hi, Missy Hooten. So glad you're here. Maria Asaraf, thrilled to see you here. Holly Bertone and Tom Shibler. Wow, that is a blast from the past. So great to see you. So I just wanted to chat a little bit about, because we're really billing you as our, just like my child, wedding crasher. And it's just so interesting for me, because for so long we have been dealing with and interrupting, and through our community legal volunteers, really bad stuff that happens to girls, where they are forced into early child marriage, or we find out that they're being abused by a relative, or they're not allowed to go to school. And I would say hundreds and hundreds of cases have been intervened on by these community legal volunteers. And we formed a network with the police, and have really been able to have impact, and to teach girls how to protect themselves as well. But it always comes through most loudly through a particular story. So I wanted you to tell us about how you found out, in a and why it's so important. It was a different community that you heard from, that they're about a girl, an underage girl, who was going to be forced to marry a 50-year-old man, and how you became a wedding crasher.
Okay. I still can't get over it, but yeah. So on our very first show, the Girl Power Hour, that's how we've dubbed it on radio, we got a call. We were called in by this, is a chairperson, is a community leader on his village, and he wanted to tip us off about a child marriage due to happen like in 3 weeks from when he was calling in. And then we, together working with the police at the regional level that takes all 3 districts where we operate, we kept tracking that, because there is no way we would have interfered, because with cases of early marriage, the only way to apprehend the perpetrators is to crash the wedding. So this was an introduction ceremony, and here in the central region in Buganda, it's an equivalent of a wedding, like for you, Vivian. So we monitored the situation right from the 3rd of July up to last weekend, when it all went down. Like we did it. Yeah. So, but let me share a bit about the circumstances of this girl. Maybe then you could also see the picture of what these adolescents have to go through. So her mother, the mother of this girl, by the way, she's in senior 3 at the moment, had married off her elder sister before, like 2 years back, to this same man who is like over 45 years, almost 50 years. And when the marriage did not work, as we all know, such marriages are doomed to fail because the girl wasn't of age either legally, she left the home but because there is some exchange of some sort of dowry, and they say you've eaten up all the goodies the man had to offer this family.
So
So when,
so the girl ran the first one that he was married, she was married off, ran
yes,
away from home. But
yeah,
by then, the family had consumed a lot of the dowry that the man gave. So he felt as
yes,
though he was justified in having the next daughter.
yes. And so she was the next in line. And because she's not in school, because she has been a regular attender at school, she never missed a class since the beginning of the year. And here she was, just because of the circumstances, she's home and she was next in line
Hmm.
going to get married off. But her other challenge too was, if she did not get married to this man, her mother was going to offer her younger sister, who is like 3 years younger than her. So you can imagine the circumstances. She's between a rock and a hard place. She knows she should be in school. She knows she shouldn't be getting married before 18 years of age. And here they are giving her this indecent proposal. Like, it's either you or your baby sister.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So
Oh
that was the
my gosh.
challenge.
So she really felt like she had to step
Mm-hmm.
into this. And so also Flavia is on now, so we can say hi to Flavia. Hi, Flavia. And oh my gosh. So tell us what happened. Like, you're such a detective. The thing that I want to say about Audrey is she's more American than I am, because she's watched more of our TV and detective shows, and even the old ones and whatever. So as we're communicating about all of this, um, she's like, I we're tracking this guy down, and they had to sort of stay in the shadows because it's like a drug deal. Basically, if you walk in and say, hey, I know you're going to sell drugs, I'm going to arrest you, you have to catch them in the act, right? So
Yeah.
as I like to say, even though we know that it's illegal to force a child to marry a much older man, this is a teenage girl who's being forced to marry a 50-year-old man. Until you
Mm-hmm.
catch them in the act, you can't stop it. And a law is only as good as it's enforced, right? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the drama leading up to it, and then maybe I'll even be able to share this quick little video you took.
Yeah. So with this case, like I said, we were tracking it for the entire month, and this family, they knew what they were doing is wrong. So they had already also gone through. They must have been having a hard time too, because they had to forge documentations that will alter her birth records to set her at 18 years of age
That's
as per
easy
the
to
wedding.
do. Yeah.
Very easy to do. They had everything covered. But so we get in there with police, both uniformed and those in plain clothes, and we just fly out of our truck with the police. And because with this wedding ceremony, it's the dress code that will show, would kind of differentiates who the people attend, like the guests,
Hmm.
from the groom and the bride and the mother of the bride. So the others are more well dressed than the guests. So the police all and what's so we had other undercover police people, including those from the Child and Family Protection Unit, who are ladies. Oh, they were so badass. They ran. You could not imagine this one woman running after a man in the both in the house, and this girl, because the family knew, they had kind, for some reason I think they sort of had a feeling we may come, but because we knew that, we went in a little later, 3 hours into the ceremony, when they had already given up on our coming.
Oh,
And
wow. You're very
yeah, so
crafty.
the groom, unfortunately, man, he ran away, but he's being hunted down. And the girl was unearthed from a pile of clothes which they had covered her in. And anyway, all the people were there. 5 very
So
crucial
they
people
tried
to
to
the wedding
cover up
were.
the girl with all these
Yeah.
mattresses and everything so she wouldn't be found. The parents
Yes.
were apprehended.
So yes, her mother, father were apprehended, and there's always like the adults in both families that are the ones speaking for this wedding. I must say, so all those were taken into custody,
Wow.
and yeah.
Wow. Oh, I'm going to play the video really quickly. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can share my screen. It's not
I
all
know.
that
We,
detailed, but
we,
I'm gonna play it for you
yeah.
so you can
It
see.
was such a tense moment, so that is all we could cover, like to show a
Okay,
little
so
bit.
you see the back of the policeman in this picture here, and I'm just going to
Mhm.
play it really fast. A little bit. See the people running in the
Yeah.
foreground, and you can actually see you'll be able. Yeah, see this guy running across. That's the groom,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So that's kind of the excitement, but I just thought it was so amazing, and I think what's so great about this, because sitting here also we're thinking about how can we virtualize this content, how can we make it available to every girl everywhere on the planet with the touch of a button, if she has access. And we know that internet is it's a shaky thing. I mean, even being able to
Yeah.
get you on Zoom for this amount of time, even though you have a computer and you have access to connectivity, it's not always a sure thing. We've
Mhm.
been lucky these past couple of weeks. So while we're looking at, how can we create the Girl Power Project Media, which is a platform like Sesame Street for Girls with, via an app, et cetera. This is kind of what we're thinking about in what do you call us, headquarters? So,
Yeah.
that we're just so blown away that you've been able to just leapfrog past us and be able to reach girls in a way that they really can be reached. And not only that, to like Sean, our colleague says, democratize the content so that it's available to everyone everywhere with who has access to a radio, which is everyone really in Uganda.
Yeah.
So I think that is just a super exciting thing that you're teaching us, because now as we are looking to work in the Native American communities or in India, this is a much faster way for us to get out to communities with knowledge and content in local language. So we're actually going to be speaking with a partner in Rishikesh, India next week, and it'd be great to even have you on the call, Audrey, to talk about how we're able to do this. Let me see. I see a couple of other people are commenting here. Let me see. Oh, Annie Labovitz. Oh my gosh, blast from the past. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Jennifer Meme commented, as an advocate, protector, mentor for the girls, are you getting pressures, pushback from the community and parents? And I also encourage you to ask other questions of Audrey here. So
Yeah.
that's a long story, right? Do you want to give a quick answer to that, Audrey?
Yes. I'd say it's two sides of a coin. So the same community is thirsty for justice, and they call in and report such cases. But at the same time, when the justice is going to be served, the pushback would be, oh, she's my daughter, or this is my family. Then how about who will answer the questions on how do I feed my family? So it becomes both ways. They need help. They want you to assist them, but then they also do not know. They haven't fully committed. Or I would call it like they're either signing in for this new wave of justice, but it's hard. It's at times it's very hard. So that is why when we talk of community legal volunteers, or basically involving the adults, it's trying to manage the strength of this empowered girl. Like, she has all this knowledge and she's good to go. So when she says, I don't want to get married, you need a community that is also going to understand where she's coming from. So it's both ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because she was also, she kind of had like a dollar sign on her, right? Like
Yeah.
there's value to marrying her off, right? Because like
Mm.
what is it like what would a typical dowry um include? Like what did
So
this guy give this family to marry this girl?
I'm not so sure, but a typical dowry can be anything. It's about the capacity of this family. So we've heard of what 40 cows, but then there's those that will be just one cow. But in this particular situation, it can be just anything. Like, please take this girl. We are starving, and we need
Mm,
some food on the table. So
mm.
it can be anything, any
So it would just
amount.
be like matoke, like yeah,
Yeah, and a goat, which
a
you're going to
goat.
probably eat on that very day of the wedding. Like it's very complicated.
Wow, that is really, really tragic. So Missy Hooten says, "Great job, Audrey." Maybe as if there are no other questions coming in, that was a great question, Jen. Um, if there are no other questions coming in, Audrey, maybe you could, but certainly go ahead and ask. Maybe you could tell us what one thing that you're most proud of with regards to your work, like maybe just one situation or something that really, really stands out from your work with just like my child. I know you've got an amazing team. It's been difficult sort of
Yes.
going back and forth with them. But, what do you see as the the greatest moment for you?
The greatest moment is being in touch with reality on the ground. Like,
Hmm.
so before coming into Luero, I was born into this family, I would say privileged. You're not rich, but you have all the full protection from your parents, and you're not facing forms of abuse within the home. And there is no lack for anything. We went to school just fine. And then getting immersed in this community, and I would call it being in like the reality was happening. Finally, you're seeing the statistics everyone is raging about happening right in front of your face. And
Hmm.
what I like about the work that I do, the work that we do, is trying to even change that, the
Hmm.
situation on the ground. Like, how are these girls getting more knowledge to be able to change their situation? And how is the community going to be supportive of that? And there is change. And we are really true to the one girl at a time
Hmm.
scenario. Like, we are not, in this case, like with this particular incident for this month, crashing that wedding, there's so many that are happening in the country during this time.
Hmm.
But just knowing saving this one girl,
Hmm.
that alone is very special.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you've saved one life, you've saved the world. But it's also, having been there when this is really what started Girl Power Project, was that time that we had that one community where every girl
Yeah.
was being sexually abused by one
Yes.
teacher. And it was then that I really saw that the community was so scared to turn this guy in, and they didn't believe that justice was possible.
Yeah.
And I think, you just never know what you're starting. That was something that Sister Ernestina Kulu told me years and years ago when we had our first uh, girl in the Mandela Project. And she said, you just never know what you're starting. And so you don't know who you taught in that moment to be brave or to stand up and to know that justice is possible. And, whatever happens with this girl, that just the knowledge that somebody was looking out for her, how that could transform her
Mm-hmm.
future, and just the ripple effect is really, really huge. So I want to thank you so much. Yeah, I guess Sean is commenting wedding crashers, hashtag wedding crashers, hashtag real life heroes. Yeah, hashtag courage. And so many people are thanking you, Audrey, for your, really doing the hard work and being on the ground. And I know that working with so many women, so many of our team who also come from such similar
Yes.
circumstances as some of these girls, it keeps you going and keeps them going. And being a mom to girls yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if our all of our futures are brighter if the future of girls is bright. And this is something that we've been committed to for years. So I am just going to throw it out for those who are listening or paying attention here. If you want to continue to support Audrey and the work that she's doing, definitely visit justlikeMychild.org, make a donation. This work is so critical, and it's something that we want to continue to expand around the world. But Audrey definitely is leading the charge in terms of what we're able to do right now, and would love to continue to support her. So um, with that, I think we're good. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Maybe
Yes,
we, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much to all that have been supporting us over the years. We know it comes from the heart and you don't see that every day, but we've gotten to experience it. And like we said, 20,000 girls or more have been touched by your generous donations. So we really, really appreciate it.
yeah. And yeah, so many people, thousands of people have stepped up to support this work. And I know we are so grateful to be able to just give you a small snippet of what the work is actually doing, because for me, it's that connection that makes all the difference. Like why, and what is really happening, and where is funding really going. And so I second that, Audrey. Just thank everyone who are supporting vulnerable girls. And I think there's a big thing going on. I wish I was more connected to it, but it's women supporting women. And I think that that is really ultimately what we're trying to do, right? Girls supporting girls, women supporting
Yeah.
women. So, and let's see. So for those who are watching the replay, feel free to keep putting questions in the comments and share what's happening on the ground in Uganda. We are going to have a watch party. So super grateful that we've been able to do this. And let's do it again, Audrey. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Greetings from Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.